active. I don't know if I brought this issue up. I've got hunting property throughout the state, and I was over in Taylor County. That's south side of Tallahassee, Perry, Florida. About 45 minutes, depending who you are. If you're 70 and over, it probably takes you an hour. But I was sitting at the discussion, Lindsay, with some friends, and over dinner, they were telling me, oh, yeah, it's already in the newspaper. They're trying to meet with the county commission to bring in an AI data center. Now, I was trying to, and I want many of you to figure this out. We're going to be probably covering this at Florida Daily on some print articles, but I've noticed that when I have conversations with elected officials and people like in the Chamber of Commerce, there is more of an appetite because they need jobs in these rural areas here in Florida. There's more of an appetite where the AI data centers will get tax incentives, tax breaks, because instead of going to the bigger cities, where the bigger cities are like, hey, we already got enough jobs, we don't need AI data centers, too much development, whatever you've heard or what you believe or whatever overall of AI data centers, they're going more to the rural areas because they get the tax breaks, and these areas need jobs, okay? And yes, it is an economic boom for construction jobs. You can make some manufacturing stuff come in, but the other big argument, because I think this is still way too early in what the AI data centers are going to bring, are they going to be 100 jobs? Are they going to be 200, 300 jobs? And nobody knows. It's going to use up all the water supply. But
Sure.
But hold on. But let me go to Lindsay first. But Lindsay, this is becoming an issue, and it's becoming an issue more in the rural counties where it's not heavily getting reported. But kind of the pro and con. Is it too early whether to take out a full-page ad newspaper pro or against AI data centers?
I think it's too early for that argument, but I think the real argument is, what is this going to do and how is this going to impact those communities? Because I've heard everything from 100 people to like 12 people, and that's a big difference. Also, like, what are you trading for those jobs? So you might be, getting 12 more jobs, 100 more jobs, but then what you just mentioned, the water supply. And then also we haven't talked about the fact that, there's a lot of these data centers, they're going to be pushing all that, the power, the increased energy onto the residents in that area. We're going to be footing the bill. Yeah. So that's what is really concerning. And I just wonder, what are we giving up? We already live in this digital age where we're in this surveillance state. We can't get away from anyone or anything. And then now we have this data centers. I feel like we're going to be in prison forever.
Coming from west of the Rockies. It's a wild
you never know. But I want to know somebody, will they just roll it out for me? What is going to be the impact? And nobody can actually give
Does she got some legitimate concerns, Matt?
Somewhat. There
Matt,
have been some recent studies.
Concerns.
there have been studies, though, that show that basically your typical strip mall consumes more power than a typical data center, and the same with water.
Really?
And some of them are going to be supplying their own water. The reason they're in rural areas is, they do need the space. As far as the jobs, that's an interesting one because it by definition requires a specific type of an engineer, and it requires a few of them to be full-time. A lot of them are contractors, though, so that's where you get into some of the nuance of, well, they're really an employee. But the bottom line is, before that was there, when there was just a field, okay, there weren't any high-tech jobs. So that's, it's tricky.
I wonder, we used to have these we had them, tax abatements, tax incentives. I don't want to pay a company to move in. I'll give them some tax breaks, but
right.
If you're a poor rural area hold on, if this tax cut goes through, some of the local rural areas are going to need to raise money. So I don't know if I'd give all these, I'm a huge tax break guy, but if they can afford the taxes, maybe give them some deregulations on something, but maybe keeping the property tax. I think that's what they're looking at.
What gets tricky,
that tax cut goes through.
What gets tricky too, though, with it is Lindsay mentioned the power cost, and so what's been happening in some places that's raising eyebrows is, some of these counties are saying, oh, well, we're going to throw an extra tax in there just because you're damaging the environment, and then in some cases they're saying, well, you're going to have to pay, for your own power, pay this penalty. But at the same time, you've got the power companies saying, oh, well, we're going to raise consumer rates. So it's like a win for the government and a win for the power company, because if the power company is raising the rates, even though they're not really having to exert that much more, then you start to wonder, okay, is this kind of like Enron type expense billing going on here, where they're claiming that these data centers are really going to, cost this much, deplete this much more energy, and they're just passing it on to the consumers?
You just depleted all my energy.
Right.
Listen to this
So
scenario you just gave out. So
that's going to be, I think, a major issue, where you have a lack of transparency between the county deal and also just between what's going on with how much power is actually being used versus some of these rates.
So, Lindsay, you're not a big fan of the AI data centers, huh?
I don't want it in my backyard. I
want it in my backyard. Probably won't.
And then, well, yeah, that's true. I live next my neighbor. I could see them right there. So I don't live in somewhere rural America. However, I do worry about our farmland being taken up by these huge data centers. And I am concerned because sure, it'll create jobs. But if you're talking about these high skill, I used to be an IT recruiter, and these people, if they're coming in, they're not coming in from Podunk, USA. They are from Washington, D.C. They're from, California, Seattle, and they're getting, essentially taken out of their, out of the IT world into, rural America. So it's not actually helping the local community, employ more people.
But well, maybe it depends on, if they're bringing them down, property values, building new houses. I drove from Perry to Palatka. That was a 3-hour drive on Saturday. And I got to tell you something. I'm driving through Newberry and Gainesville. There is a lot of areas that wouldn't mind the growth. I don't mind a Walmart with 500 part-time jobs. We can't have that, but okay. But it's okay to have 30 jobs from AI data center. But I think it would be an economic boom, at least temporarily, for all the construction jobs that would end up happening. But I don't know.
Long term, what are we trading for it long term? And that's what I really want to know.
Well, what we're doing right now, there's not enough data and enough bandwidth for our online communities to keep expanding the way they are, and all that.
Especially in rural areas. Yeah, they need more. They're relying on Starlink.
Right.
And which is good. But Matt's got a point. More data and everything else. Everybody wants their upgrades to their cell phones. They want more data online. Matt's got a good point. If AI can handle that, again, it's like social media. They've got the ills of society, and social media can bend a lot of things to society. You just got to take the good with the bad. But none of these. Somebody told me a story out in Utah. It was taking up 40,000 acres. I said, this ain't the size of the Death Star of Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, so